One. And we're recording. We are rolling.
Dude, my feet smell so bad. Oh my God.
Like
I don't know if I got a fungal thing. I think I got a fungal thing. Oh, it's so bad, dude.
Oh, what happened?
It's so bad. There's crusties in my nails and stuff, man.
Have you ever seen, dude, my big left toenail looks like a chili cheese Frito.
I'd love to taste it.
Actually, they're mint green right now. They look like toothpaste because my kids painted them.
Are we live right now on Facebook?
No, we're recording, so this will be bonus footage for everybody listening to the podcast, unless I decide to chop it off later.
No, don't chop it off.
No, I leave it.
All right, let's go.
I'm working on it. And here, we're live. Clapped Out Podcast, episode 6. Here we are.
Hello, everybody. Welcome.
Well, it says preparing. I'm assuming that we are live.
It doesn't say live on the book. Nope, still not live.
Okay. I got the spinning wheel of death right now. Oh, yeah. We got to title this. I forgot about all the...
Episode 5.
This is episode 6.
Is it? No, it's episode 5.
No, this is 6. I'll put Clapped Out Podcast 5 or 6.
Not unsure of which episode this is.
Go live. 3, 2, 1. Action. Live on Facebook, Clapped Out Podcast, episode 5 or 6. We're not sure which one.
We've lost track of time.
We are also bringing this to you with little to no announcement whatsoever, no advanced preparation on our part, or no advance notice for you guys. We do not apologize for our actions. What else would you expect from a couple of delinquents such as ourselves? This week's episode is brought to you by ourselves.
And Curry Rear Ends and Johnson Lifters.
Oh, yeah. Totally. Because I found my Curry hat, dude. I've lost this hat, and it was hiding behind my couch. And it's probably one of my favorite hats just because of the way it fits, as well as Johnson Lifters are bitchin'. We both run Johnson Lifters in our cars, do we not?
Shout out Randy. Randy at Johnson's the man.
So there you go. Yeah, Johnson Lifters, we kind of just play by ear. We support the companies that support us or just make badass products. And both of these companies are those companies.
Let me tell you a story about Johnson Lifters. Everybody strap in. This is a good one.
I prefer to strap on, but let's go.
I'm well aware of this. I've seen the videos, not on purpose. I've just been scrolling and they've appeared. So Johnson Lifters, Randy, again, I don't even think they know. Yeah, we haven't told Johnson Lifters or Kurt. We don't have permission to use their name in the podcast, but we're just going to wing it. Hopefully they don't hate us for it. Johnson Lifters, Randy Vroman, I don't know how to pronounce Randy V at Johnson Lifters.
There you go.
When I had my engine failure, without any prompting, Randy hollered at us, me, and was like, hey, man, we got your back. And a set of ST2126 LSRs went back in my engine, courtesy of those guys. That was a huge, huge step in the right direction for me to get back on the road to racing. So that was awesome. Curry Rear Ends has supported the team for a while now. And Rye and Josh both rock Curry stuff. Obviously, last year, Drag Week didn't go as planned. And to piggyback on that, this year, Curry was going to be one of our title sponsors for Drag Week. And unfortunately, Drag Week is not happening. Rye ruined it. It's Rye's fault.
We talked about beforehand. We don't want to go down the rabbit hole of coronavirus because it's been shoved down your throat everywhere on social media, and we're not going to do that to you guys. But it is true. The coronavirus has ended Drag Week 2020 and any possibility of it happening. They have said they will extend the opportunity, like the rule set. Anybody who's registered for this year has first shot at being registered for 2021 if you're interested to do so. And I got to be completely honest, it's so frustrating because my co-pilot Scott was the one, like, he's been itching to do it for so long. and we've talked about it back and forth. Like, dude, this is your year. This is your year. 2021. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do Drag Week or Rocky Mountain Race Week. And now it's like, well, damn. Like, I had so many plans to completely revamp my car, to stop doing this quote endurance drag racing stuff and start taking heads up racing a little bit more serious, make some changes to the car, take weight out of it, make it a little less streetable, but more competitive. And now it's just been postponed a year because I have not met, or my goals are fulfilled in my head, my obligations to all the companies that take such good care of me doing this stuff. So it's going to be interesting on how 2021 pans out. The Matt Frost is his name. Runs Maki Routen.
Maki Routen Race.
Maki Routen Race Week.
Maki Routen Race Week.
He said, "Oh, Drag Week's canceled. Rocky Mountain Race Week. We got you." So he is putting on an event, Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0, and I've been strongly considering signing up for it because, one, we already kind of like planned for that time. Two, I really want to do one of his events. Three, he actually has a cash payout. And then me and Scott started talking about it, and honestly, I am not entirely sure. Like, I thought when this whole COVID-19 nonsense, nonsense, I won't say nonsense, when COVID-19 all started messing up everybody's lives, whether you agree it's a real thing or not, I don't give a shit what side of the mask or no mask you're on. But regardless of that fact, it has been messing with everybody's lives.
You say something about masks? Sorry, dude. I forgot. I got it.
So
Hold on.
when this all went down and started, I don't think anybody thought it was going to go this long. And I definitely didn't. And now I'm kind of like, dude, I don't know when this is going to stop. I thought for sure it would be over and life would return to complete normality. But my day job kind of has me on a very tight leash. And I'm not sure, even if I wanted to do Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0 out there in the Midwest, that I would even be allowed to go by my employer. I'm being kind of vague about that because I kind of like to keep those two things very separate.
The proud.
Yeah, there you go. If you want to know what I do for a day job, I fight dragons with swords and lava monsters. Okay? If you've seen the commercials, they've tried to hire you at one point. Somebody probably called you. Whatever. Look, so I don't know what's going to happen with this whole endurance drag racing thing this year.
Jason, shut up. Jason Terrell. There is something going on. Just building race cars with the boys. Jason, I love that spirit. Tin Soldiers race cars. Hey, hell, Tin Soldiers is a title sponsor for this episode
yes,
too. Screw
absolutely.
it. All right, Tin Soldiers is the new oncoming title sponsor. Yeah, correct. All right, Jason, just drop the check in the mail. Just let us know.
I can't afford a car. Me and Jason talked, and I was like, man, I'm gonna support you guys any way I can. I bought like a couple parts, the battery box hold down for my car. I was like, man, you guys just do such bitching work. I can't really afford to have you build me a whole car, but I would love to. And then Jason's response was, I hope you become very, very wealthy one day. I was like, yeah,
my God.
Me too. So shout out to Jason and the boys out there, man. These guys are super nice dudes, and their morality is impeccable, and the product that they deliver is unstoppable. So yes. Jason Terrell and the boys out there, Tin Soldiers Race Cars, shout out to those guys. That's not a paid advertisement whatsoever.
Yes, I agree. It is a paid advertisement. Jason, mail the check. So moving on from the Corona junk, obviously let's to round that out, Drag Week's canceled. Rye will more than likely not be doing Drag Week next year, given his want to actually beat me and not be slow. And Rocky Mountain Race Week is doing a version 2.0. I think there's going to be a lot more events that fall before the end of the year, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I, again, won't go into the politics of it either side, but be a good human. That's all I ask of people, regardless.
I will say not doing Drag Week that's nowhere near set in stone. I'm not entirely done.
I'm going to side bet right now live. I'll side bet $100 cash that you do not do Drag Week next year. Easy, locked in. Cool. You accept? Yeah,
Yeah,
$100.
absolutely. Bet.
Yeah, you're
Deal.
not going to do
Done.
it. So
Yep.
$100.
Okay.
How about? No, it doesn't matter. $100. You don't even enter. You don't
Damn.
make it to the race. So
You
pay me
are
now.
on.
Just go ahead and pay me now. So we are coming out of the gates with literally nothing to speak on specifically, and then it hit me like a ton of
Wait. Hold
like
on.
when
We talked about this before. Don't do that. Don't do
Sorry.
that. Don't make that face. I don't
about
appreciate it. I don't like your attitude or your approach right now. Okay? It's not cool. Listen, to everybody that wants to comment on YouTube about, Drag Week is canceled.
There's
Yes.
42 people listening. Nobody cares.
Yes, we know Drag Week was canceled. Like, I put out a video like, "Hey, Drag Week prep is in full swing," and then I keep getting all these comments on the video about how, I don't know why you're even bothering. Drag Week's canceled. Don't you know Drag Week's canceled? Yeah, I know. I don't go commenting on videos like people like trying to tour New York City in 2000 saying,
"Oh, come
hey,
on.
I'm going to go."
You're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're so dumb. You're so dumb. I hate you as a person. As a
Pay
human
attention.
being.
Pay attention to the details, people, before you start typing out stuff. Okay.
If you all are unaware, Rye is so sensitive to internet comments, and it's my favorite thing in the world. Literally, people will comment on my videos, "I hope you die in a fire along with your family," and I will just laugh. If somebody tells Rye, "I don't like the way your mustache looks," he'll find their homes and he'll Jay and Silent Bob them and fly to their houses and scream in their faces or hit them and beat them to death. He hates people that are trolling on the internet. I love it. So I ask our fans, I'm begging our 12 fans, please, for the love of God,
troll me harder.
Rye.
I probably should have kept my mouth shut. I'm gonna get trolled way harder now.
Please troll Rye. It's so fun because he'll call me middle of the night. "Hey man, can't sleep. Guess what?"
I do not. I've never one time have I called you in the middle of the night like, "Can't sleep." Never said that one time. Come on.
Yeah, so he'll call me in the middle of the night. "Logan, seriously, did you see what Smoking Booty 37 said about my video?" And I'll be like, "No, Rye, but I'll absolutely check it out." And I go to Smoking Booty's comment, and it's like, "Your butt looks kind of flat in these pants. Unsubscribe." And then Rye the entire night's doing squats in the kitchen, just cantaloupe over each shoulder, one at a time. And I have to coach him. 10 more, Rye. Get those glutes in check. But this is who he is as a person. So if you can, please continue to troll Rye as hard as you can. David Varner's checking in. What is up? Tyler Hanna, what is up?
Hold on. In contrast to all that, remember when you started posting videos on Clapdown on YouTube and you called me and said, "Dude, the first reaction that I got on YouTube on my first video was thumbs down."
Yes. But I was stoked about it. I tell you what, I talk about this till I'm blue in the face, but I promise you, I like the negative more than the positive because it's so funny to me. Like, it's literally these idiots they live in their mom's basements. They'll never do anything in the public eye because they're scared to. I literally make an idiot of myself on purpose. And all the idiot troll moron haters that are like, "Dude, the guy said he doesn't know what he's doing. Blah, blah, blah." It's like, yeah, that's the point. It's called clapped out, not grade A 5-star Yelp review out.
Yeah.
Like, it's clapped out. Like, we suck. That's our theme.
I'll be completely honest. It used to get under my skin. It really, really did. And then it does from time to time. It does. But
just complain for
now, I kind of welcome it a little bit because it gives, especially, I don't know, man. I used to enjoy, and I still do from time to time, a good internet argument. And when I can make somebody look dumb without ever actually like meeting them in person, then I go for it.
Brandon Harrington, a fellow guy that slays dragons with swords. He's a very good friend of mine. And Brandon is
I see his comment right now.
Brandon for a living takes tanks out and just blows things up. That's his job.
Mm-hmm.
And Brandon has requested, since Rye is not going to be able to do Drag Week, I think Rye should spend a week in drag. And I agree, Brandon. 1,000% I agree.
I literally today at work was trying to explain to somebody what Drag Week is, and they had the most confused look on their face when I was talking about cars the whole time. And they're like, wait. So it's not like RuPaul, right? I'm like, no.
If that was canceled, we're going. We'll make our own if that gets canceled.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Corona, you can come after the racetracks, but the day you come after us walking around in drag, whoo, I'm about to roundhouse somebody because I look good in heels, dead ass. I look really
you should
good
see these calves, son.
I'm telling you, dude. I would show you right now, but they're not pumped right now. So I'm not trying to put them up.
I'm looking down at them right now.
My veins on my calves have their own veins.
Hang on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go do some calf lifts over here on the stairs.
Calf lifts, cool. Good name. Good name.
That's what they're called.
I don't know. I have no idea. I've never lifted calves in my life, but they're massive because I used to be still am a fat kid, but I was a real fat kid.
Oh, I thought we were talking about young cows. I've lifted young cows before. No.
Anyway, so I don't even know.
Corona sucks. Racetrack's getting shut down left and right. Enough on that. Let's go.
All right. What's the most dramatic thing in motorsports that happened this week?
Birdman balled a car up. I saw that.
Ooh.
Have you seen? Maybe somebody in the comments knows something about it. I haven't seen any status up. I saw the car.
He's fine. He's good. He posted a video. Not Mike Murillo, who posted a video of him in the trailer. I can't remember, but he was in the trailer looking at the car. The one thing I loved was his first question after rolling the car and literally almost dying was, "Did I win?"
Yeah. That's some dedication.
Mr. James Finney, what size wheelbarrow do you have for your balls? Because I can't imagine hunking those things around everywhere you go. Right. No way. And he was in the trailer looking at the car, and the car was all torn to hell. And he's looking on at the car, which is sad as hell because at the end of the day, that car is an icon in no prep racing. It really is.
It is. It's been around for damn ever. Even before no prep, he was a beast in the grudge game.
Yes, he was, man. And the fact that he's staring at this like monument to grudge racing, as it's literally there's no coming back for it, it's done. And he's staring at it, maybe a new version, but I doubt that car is going to be saved.
Yeah.
And he's staring at it, and he doesn't look upset at all. I mean, he looks upset, but he's happy to be breathing and walking around. And the way that car looked, the safety stuff, damn, it did its job, man. It did its job. It was nuts looking. If you haven't seen it, it was gruesome. The car looked gruesome.
So on the topic of safety, this is something we didn't talk about before. Well, I sent the video to you. There's a local guy here earlier this week in a pretty gnarly wreck. What is your thought on, and this is what I've been thinking about this, and I'd like to hear what people on the live feed think about it as well. Like racing at a guardrail track, like, are tracks progressing at the same rate that cars are? Now, the amount of cars as a whole, like the amount of cars that are as fast as they are today is exponentially greater, like percentage-wise. Let's rewind. I don't want to name names. I don't want to name the track or nothing like that. So I'm going to keep everybody's names out of this. Some people may know
what I'm talking about. Put a name on it. Just put a name on it, dude.
I'm not going to say it. There's a guardrail track in every state, right? They're everywhere. And if you got
I'm going to Google it while you're talking.
I don't care. So if you have a track that was originally put together and built up in, like, say, the 60s, 70s, and guardrails, think about how fast the majority of cars were going down a track in the 1960s and 70s. And I'm talking about this recently because there was a wreck locally here that was – and I can talk about it a little bit of light. The guy that was driving the car, he was concussed, broken arm, but all in all, he's going to be 100% okay. But the footage of this wreck looks absolutely terrifying. And at what point do you start to hold the track a little bit more responsible? Like the progression of safety and NHRA rules and safety specs and all that stuff, like, that applies to cars has kind of kept up with how fast cars are getting. But the safety standards and stuff like that, I feel like with tracks is not keeping up with the times. Do you or do you not agree?
Completely.
You do?
I completely
I'd
disagree.
love it. Let's hear it.
So at the end of the day, even having a drag strip to go to is a blessing in itself.
Yes, 100% agree.
Are you doing that every time I make a point, or what are we going to do here?
No. I just want people to know that I agree.
So actually, this is kind of a two-part. I do agree that there's safety concerns at racetracks that are guardrail tracks. Another instant concern that I have is a full concrete barrier with break in the concrete barrier, 600 foot down track, and then another concrete barrier. You get loose, you go into that opening, you T-bone yourself, you're dead on impact. You're not surviving a sideways impact concrete barrier. Huge concern for me. I don't even know what you call them. Like they're literally just track access ports down the track. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. If they're not staged
however,
the correct way, then you're effed.
Exactly, 100%. Or your accelerator gets pedal, you clip the return road entrance. I mean, there's so many things that can happen. However, the moment a racer straps into their car, it's their responsibility. Doesn't matter where you're at. I don't care if you're on a street, you're at a track. I don't care. The moment you strap in, it's your responsibility. If your car gets now, it doesn't. If there's an oil down on the track in front of you and the track officials don't know about it, you get loose, you hit the wall, and it's one of those things. It happens all the time. But in my personal opinion, it's still the racer's responsibility. It's just like when Tim McAmis is talking about racing a window licker next to you, and if the dude next to you looks like they don't know what they're doing, back out of the beams. Don't race them.
Right.
And if you're I'm not going to say dumb enough to race a guardrail track because I don't want to knock guardrail tracks because there's tons of them that do very well.
I don't either because I had a ton of fun at them.
Exactly. So if you see a guardrail track and it's close to your home and it's your only option and it's safer than most streets, you know, there's a lot of streets that are super sketchy with telephone poles every 5 foot, whatever. That's not regulation telephone pole spacing, by the way. That'd be an insane amount of telephone poles.
Where's all my taxpayer dollars going?
Who built this power line? But that's the thing. If your only track nearby is a guardrail track and that's your only option, you're kind of painted into a corner.
Oh no, did we lose you?
Don't make it a hit. I will agree. No, it's your internet. Your internet sucks.
It does. I'm sorry.
I'm
Something's
right here,
going on with it. Yeah, you're good. You're good.
It's your internet, not mine.
It is mine. I'm on the host on
me?
this one. Yep, you're good. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah,
so, I mean,
am I good?
Is it my turn?
So, no, I'm still going. So, okay. I'm not dogging guardrail tracks. I'm not saying that they don't have their place. I know that I would never race a pure guardrail track just from my own fears. And I've seen some terrible wrecks, but I have seen life flights come in to MIR, a front-wheel drive, sport front-wheel drive Honda Civic, breaks an axle at 165 mile an hour with a spool or whatever they run, goes dead left into the wall, hits it head on, and gets life flighted out concrete.
Yeah.
It's every time you strap in, expect the worst, pray for the best.
Fully agree with you that the racer has the ultimate responsibility. Nobody's holding a gun to anybody's head whatsoever, but I still feel like the track has a responsibility to provide the safest racing surface or facility possible. And if the track was originally built in 1960, 70, whatever, and we have progressed beyond what that thing was originally capable of retaining, when you hit a two-rail, like our single-rail guardrail at 100+ miles an hour, we've all seen the videos, and you see what happens.
Your phone's breaking up. No one can hear you.
I'm a bitch. Anybody. It's not a phone. It's an internet. It's a computer. How about now? This is going well.
I don't know why. I mean, every time we do this, you have connection issues. Why don't you just move a router nearby, bud?
Oh, yeah. You want to, well, maybe clapped out. Can pay for it.
Let's go. I'd love this. Let's do this.
No, I say, like, nobody's holding a gun to your head, and I understand that. But at the end of the day, the track has a responsibility to provide the safest facility possible. They really, really do. And if you're the type of person like, hey, man, it's your decision, blah, blah, blah. If you go out there and ball your shit up.
Real quick. Hey, I can barely get freezes.
Yeah, really.
So just don't talk. David Varner, I agree with your disagreement. That is a very good point. She said, I'm sure there is a minimum requirement to even be open as a track besides guardrails, but fire, EMS, all have to be up to safety. I agree 1,000,000%. I think the ultimate question here is guardrail, not ultimate question, but my ultimate comparison is guardrail versus cement. None of the other standards, clean racing surface, EMS, all that stuff. I completely agree needs to be up to code. There is absolutely zero argument there. And Andy just wrote down attendance and participation at the track has to be there to keep the upkeep. I agree. Yes. But you have to have the capital up front to provide all those things. If you build it, they will come. Now, a track that's on its last legs that can't afford to provide those things, I'm sorry, time to sell the track. Yep. It's just time. If you can't afford to provide every ounce of safety in your power and to provide a clean racing surface, then you need to shut down operations as much as it sucks, because all you're doing is literally running the risk of killing somebody.
So is my internet working now? Can I finish my little spiel? I hope so. Okay, cool. I just heard a glitch. Am I good or not? Because now I'm nervous. Anyway, I feel like the track owner has a responsibility to provide the best facility possible to the spectators and participants at their race. If the track was originally built in when cars were averaging, let's say, quarter mile, like the fastest cars were 10, 12 seconds. Well, then now when you're talking about single digits, it's exponentially faster. Like, you have a responsibility to provide a safe racing facility. You go to a little podunk 8th mile track with guardrails and all of your EMS, he wants to talk about EMS, stuff like that, is a bunch of volunteer firefighters on a square body Chevy from the late 70s that may not even make it to the starting line if it had to. That's a problem. That's definitely a problem. Yeah. And I don't know, man. Yes, the racers sign the response. They sign off on the waiver, and they are ultimately responsible for their own destiny. But even if they are fatally injured, at the end of the day, somebody else has to clean that mess up. And you got to think about the repercussions of your actions. I don't know. I'm an advocate for safety, huge advocate for safety on the racers' part and the track's part. And I love seeing tracks like up their safety game a little bit. Me personally, after what I saw this past week, I don't think I'll be taking my car down a guardrail track anytime soon, just because what I saw kind of got me shook a little bit. And you can call me a pussy, you can call me less of a man if you want to, but I got a wife and 3 kids, and I want to be around to watch them all grow older. So that's what I'm willing to take. And I would love to see if tracks could step it up. I don't know what it costs to lay concrete down and then the entire stretch, put some jersey barriers up or something, improve over a guardrail. But I wish more tracks would take it seriously, especially when their attendance increases because they all of a sudden caught a little niche and like, oh, this event is paying a bunch. Let's do a bunch more of these events. And instead of lining your own pockets, maybe reinvest it back into the facility.
Here's the thing. I don't see many podunk tracks, and I'm going to use that term, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but I don't see many of those socioeconomically challenged tracks lining their pockets ever. It's like $6 to race anyway. So they're not getting rich. They're literally just getting enough to pay their property taxes is how I feel with a lot of these places.
Yeah.
And the other thing to keep in mind here is you keep bringing up how it was in the 60s and how if they were built in the 60s, they need to obviously renovate and keep up with the times. But bear in mind, the muscle car era, the 60s and the 70s, even factory cars were still in the 13s, 12s. I mean, there were cars that were still going, hell, 50 miles an hour into a guardrail, 60 miles an hour.
Absolutely.
So I think the other thing is you take a step back and you just look at what's been done and tracks that have reinvested into their but their property, and they've done this. Those have continued to succeed and have continued to grow, but you still will always have the tracks that just do the bare minimum to skate by because what they charge and where they're to be able. Again, it sucks.
Are you there? I think we lost you.
The racer.
Internet is killing.
You there? You froze? Yeah. You're frozen again.
We both.
Them run their 10-point expired harness, single layer jacket in the set, double-edged sword. I do agree with you, Doozer. A lot of people cry safety, and then when they go to, like, for example, any NHR track. We traveled all the way to what is that track in Gainesville, Florida, with our drag car Dynasty, and we came all the way down. We had an NHRA certed cage, a 10-point cage, and we didn't realize it was out of cert by like 2 or 3 weeks. Everybody's complaining about your internet, by the way, Rye.
I know, dude.
Oh man, Rye's getting flustered. Everyone say a prayer.
A little bit. Keep talking. You keep talking.
This never happens. I've lost my train of thought. But again, what was I talking about? You ruined this for me. I don't have the mindset to be interrupted, Rye. Why did I interrupt myself? But again, I don't know. I think the question about safety, guardrail versus concrete, I know how I feel about guardrail tracks. I don't knock people that use them or go to them and help support them. The only way that they can't afford to put concrete in is if they have the attendance and the capital to do so. And hopefully they use that capital wisely. But Gainesville, Florida, that's a good example. That's where I was going. We drove all the way to Gainesville, 9-10-hour drive. We had a 2JZ-powered Lexus SC300 in the trailer. We unload at Gainesville. Tech inspector comes up. You planning on going faster than blah, blah, blah? And we're like, yeah, absolutely. No, you're not. Get out. Wouldn't even let us on the track.
Yeah.
We're like, why? Well, your cage is out of cert. We look at it. It was like 2 months out of cert. Cool. That's great. We drove 9-10 hours to Gainesville. It was the only track that was open. Winter was just ending. And we promised the people that we would only run 8th mile and we would not go take it out the back door. And luckily they allowed us to race just 8th mile. Had transmission issues anyway, so we ended up packing it up and heading home regardless. But at the end of the day, it's a very, very good comment. Everyone wants the safest, most desirable track. I want top-notch everything. And then they go to unload their pile of trash and they can't pass tech. Like, this is BS, man. I should be able to race. A very good point, Doozer. That was very well worded, man.
I mean, I guess at the end of it, I'm not saying shut down all guardrail tracks. Don't get me wrong. I'm really not. I'm just saying that if you have put it on the racer. If you have a car that is fast, I don't know what fast is subjective, but
not
use your head. Yeah, not me. Use your head. If you're trying to run here's one. This has happened a couple times here. A no prep event. Then a lot of no prep guys events and promoters will try to run the track backwards. Have you seen this? Right? You start at the finish line or in the shutdown because that is a true no prep. There's no rubber. It's bare concrete. Blah blah blah. If you're trying to do an event like that, maybe don't do it at a guardrail track because if you know anything about guardrails, when they are bolted together, they're bolted together in a specific way so that when you hit them, you're going, for lack of better terms, with the grain of the guardrail. If you race a guardrail track backwards, you're going against the grain. And somebody said, a few people have commented on it, like attendance is attendance. No prep brings the money in. And if it's a money grab thing, I guess morality becomes a question. I don't have the ultimate answer. I really don't. So,
well, there's a couple
for
more
me,
points that got brought up too. You'll like this one, Rye, your boy Scott, and you have to answer to this with your wife watching. What about outrunning your cage's certification, Rye?
Yeah, I know. It's questionable. It is.
Yeah,
It is. But I will feel safer outrunning my cage's certification. It's about your level of acceptability of risk. Do I feel good about outrunning my cage's certification? I'm right there at it. I've made more than a handful of passes knocking on the door of running faster than what my car should be allowed to run.
Yeah, I did. However, first pass ever I did.
Shut your whore mouth. But I will definitely do it on a concrete wall track. I will never do it on a guardrail track. Absolutely not.
I was going to use this to talk the dude, but I didn't have anything clever to say about it all. I
was going to buy you some Lebowski socks, but I bought you. You said you were going to wear the shirts that I got you for your birthday, but you didn't.
I lied. I lied right to your face.
Because you're just a fucking liar.
Doozer, or who was it? Was it Doozer? No. Varner, David Varner from IDS. He brought this up too. A lot of tracks need to adapt with the times.
He brought up
that no prep racing brings 10 times the spectators. I'd say no prep and no time racing was a force. It's always been a force. And growing up in Chicagoland, King of the Street, Heyo Steve, and going to that race yearly was amazing. And seeing it grow, I don't know if many people know that I did grow up in the Chicagoland suburbs. I grew up in a suburb called St. Charles, and there is a metric ton of grudge racers in the Chicago area. And I was very impressed with the way that King of the Street COTS grew, and seeing the impact COTS had on tracks across the country. It was very impressive to see the trickle down. And I'm happy that it did what it did, and I'm happy that it had the impression it did, because a lot of the tracks that followed suit and promoters that started throwing no prep events and no time events, those promoters are the lifeblood of some of those tracks. There's a lot of tracks that without the Peso Productions, and I'm not picking on him specifically, but the Heyo Steves, the Pesos, these guys, and that's Mike Detroit Hood. Again, these are three people. There's dozens and dozens, but they bring massive, massive crowds, and it's amazing. If you go to Great Lakes Dragway on a random Saturday, I'm sorry, that's not a good point. Real Street Drags, when I was 19, 20 years old, you go to Real Street Drags, and the stands were not empty, but they weren't chocked full. I mean, did make you feel good. And now, like the last few years, there's been a couple Real Street Drag events, pictures go up, and I'm so stoked to see the crowds just filling up. And Anarchy No Prep with Trent, all those things, all those events, they're awesome. They're great to watch grow, and they're great to watch the tracks expand as a result of them.
I mean, tracks advancing with the times. I just feel like the facilities being keeping up with what cars are capable of they're not on an equal plane. Some of these guardrail tracks, man, I'll be honest with you, I would rather just race the street than race on a guardrail track. I'd rather take my chances with putting it into the ditch or bouncing off a retaining wall on the highway from a 60 roll than hitting a guardrail, letting it flatten out and turn into a ramp. That's just the way I feel. Not everybody's got to agree with me. It's my opinion, but I don't know. I just thought it was something good to talk about. Who are you talking to on your phone? Don't listen. Pay attention.
Sorry, I was just.
We're trying to do a show here. You are so unprofessional. Yeah. Unbelievable, sir.
Calling me out on live feed is really professional. Good job. Next topic. Save Atco Raceway. I don't know what's going on with Atco, but
they are trying to do what they did to Englishtown and turn it into a storage parking lot.
Jesus, dude.
Yep. Another track that is, I don't know that it's because of COVID, and I don't want to bring the COVID subject back up, but I think it's just because of the expanding of time. Like, racetrack gets built, nobody's around. You build a neighborhood next to a racetrack. All of a sudden, the neighborhood's pissed. Like, this racetrack's too loud. Well,
it's
then
the exact same thing.
You should have moved into a house. Yeah, you should have moved into a house next to a fucking racetrack, you idiots.
It's so dumb. NCM, the road course track in Bowling Green. So I went to college at Western. Ryan never went to college because he's dumb. I got a degree. He doesn't. So
my degree is under my armpit, just like I said last time.
Bowling Green, NCM opened, and if you have not been to that facility, it is insanely incredible. I mean, they've done a great job there. And here's what shook down, and this is the Cliff Notes. NCM gets approval to build. No one says a peep. They build NCM. The neighbors are freaking out. It's too loud. They start enforcing this decibel level limit, which is pretty common at road courses.
Yep.
And they start enforcing the decibel limit, and people are literally leaving the track to go to like Midas up the street to get extra mufflers welded on, like insane triple muffler setups coming out the back of these Porsches because they weren't aware of the decibel measure until they got there. So the first few events that went down with the decibel enforcement going on, it was crazy to see some of the cars that were rolling around BG. The exhausts were, hey, so now what are you doing on the computer, Rye? Let me call you out. Why don't you
I'm
pay
trying
attention?
to find an example of an insane muffler setup that applies to your story. Continue.
Nick Thompson, I hate calling him Nick Thompson, Doozer. Terry from Ohio Valley Raceway did an article a couple years ago on how they turn profit, and bracket racing with zero advertising is their bread and butter. Here's a question. Why is bracket racing the highest payout drag racing event there is?
Highest level of participants and buybacks.
So if you have the highest level of participants with an insane amount of buybacks, and when you go racing, how many people show up with you? You know, you're going to have at least a couple people, right?
Are you talking about like with the crew?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
you're
like
going to have some
2
people,
to
and
3
and
minimum.
those people usually have people, and those people have people that have people. So when you pack the stands with 100 racers, fit 200 racers on the property trying to race, that I can see easily how it turns out a huge, massive, massive turnout. That's
Yep.
awesome. Um, I don't knock the bracket racer guys. I don't enjoy watching bracket racing at all. I just
Nobody does, dude. The stands are empty, but I there was one day that we were sitting around the house, and me and my oldest daughter were bored, and I was like, "Hey, there's a race going on." Our buddy Austin Big Brown was down there racing. I said, "Let's go down and check this race out." And I rolled to our local track, Coastal Plains Raceway Park, for a bracket race. I have never seen that many cars at that track because I've never gone for one of their Summit Racing Series IHRA bracket races.
Summit
It
Racing can cut us a check for that, by the way.
it was insane the amount of cars on the property. And they'll race till 1, 2, 3 in the morning because of the amount of buybacks. And that's how you end up with those $1 million purses. You see them, everybody has seen the meme about the guy who went to some race and won $1 million with an open trailer and a shitbox car. Well, it's because there were thousands of racers on the property, and every one of them bought back in after they got knocked out. 200 cars in one round, and then 200 cars in the second round. Yeah, the purse is going to be kind of big.
Well,
And you don't,
and he won 100,000 the next weekend too.
yeah, and you don't have to have the fastest car on the planet to get it. I understand the draw of bracket racing. It's never been there for me. I have zero interest in participating in it, but I
Yeah.
see why people do it because the payouts there, and you can at least offset some of your costs of racing by doing it.
Yes, I agree. Packed pits and empty stands. That usually doesn't relate to a revenue filled track. There's something I'm going to go completely off topic. Basically, we're wrapping up safety question or safety talk, and track talk, and I want to move on to something that's very personal to me. And I've been brainstorming this since I posted a status on Facebook earlier today, and I am going to lean on the clapped out human beings out there that support us. I want to buy back my first car.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I forgot we were talking about this.
I want to find my first car and I want to purchase it back. I have looked many times for the car. The trail goes dead in Ohio, somewhere, Columbus, I think. I spent before the podcast, I spent 20, 30 minutes digging through. I literally have like 387 tickets from when I lived in St. Charles, Illinois, and Geneva, Batavia. Like I have tickets from the following police departments in the suburbs of Chicago. I have Algonquin PD, Aurora PD, Batavia, St. Charles, Geneva, Elgin, and I also have Gary, Indiana, which is in Chicago. It's Gary, Indiana. It's a terrible place.
Rudy.
It's so gross. So I was looking for the VIN number on any of these documents. All of the tickets only have the plate number. I cannot find the VIN for the life of me. I've tracked down my old insurance company. They don't have any record of it. I've literally any angle you can think of, I've checked. I only have the license plate number and the year that license plate belonged to the car. So I don't know if I need to talk to hold on. Eric Mayo. Anybody interested in buying my car? His son was diagnosed with MD, and it's time to let it go to help his needs. It's a built S2000. That is way more important than what I'm talking about. So let's curveball this real quick.
Yeah.
Eric, if you're watching, Eric, you give us a rundown on that car in the comments, and we'll double back to it. If you have a mod list, or DM me the mod list, and we'll post it everywhere.
Yeah, please send us a message to Clapped Out.
I am so sorry that your family is going through that, man. I am so sorry. So please shoot me a list. DM me a complete list of the car, all information, and you have our word that we will do everything we can to get that thing sold for you for top dollar. That is something that no parent should have to go through. So, man, my thoughts and prayers are with you, man. That's
yes, sir.
terrible.
We'll post something up for you, man.
Damn, I got fucking goosebumps, man. I feel so bad for you, but we'll do what we can, man. We'll do all we can to help you out. That sucks. Man. So the Civic deal.
Yeah, you didn't say what kind of car it was.
Yeah. And a lot of people are going to say, it's just a Civic. Why do you want it? And I agree. It is. It's a Civic. So, however, it was my first car, and my father purchased it for me. It was a gift. I got a $3,000 budget to buy a car with, which was extremely awesome, and I thank him very much for that. And I found this 1998 Honda Civic CX hatchback at a dealership in Arlington Heights. No, it was off North Avenue. What was it? It was across from Strats Diner, so I'm not sure what suburb that would be. Wherever Strat, if you've lived in Chicagoland and if you've been to Strats Diner for any of the street racing back in the day, you know where I'm talking about, next to Supreme Lobster. Doesn't matter. But the Civic hatchback, my first car, is what I'm after. I have the license plate number and nothing else. And I can follow the track on Honda Tech a little bit when I sold it. I need to know. I just need to know how to find that thing. Patrick Lamp, won't the tax office have a record of the car? I'm not sure. I've contacted every federal agency and state agency I've contacted. I've come up with a dead end. So I just, whatever I can do. If anybody can run a plate number, I don't know the legalities of that, but I have a license plate number and the year the car was licensed to that plate, the year range, and there is a $500 cash reward to anyone that helps me find it. And Zeke, do me a favor, jump in a pool with some cement shoes, bro.
Oh, that's why I'm laughing. Cash for Clunkers probably got it. Shout out to Zeke.
Yeah, Zeke had it. Zeke got me, dude. I got all right, good one. All right, okay, cool. However,
was it Villa Park for Strats Diner?
Yes, Villa Park, baby.
Yeah, quick
yes.
Google search. I was bored while you were talking.
Strats Diner was dope.
It looks.
It
delicious.
was so dope. So Strats Diner, if you were in the Chicagoland area in like the late 2000s, I mean 04, 03 on, honestly, even before that, Strats Diner is right on North Avenue, and it's a small little diner, and there's barely any seating inside. I mean, there's a good dining room, but there's not a lot of parking. And I met some of my lifelong car friends, and I watched some of the baddest street races of my life that started.
I was curious, and I just did a quick Google search, and it looks like on Google Images alone, car-wise, it was jumping. So
it was nuts, dude. It was so like I hold those days so close. Everyone has the glory days when they were into cars.
Absolutely.
And street racing, I mean, racing legally on whatever, I don't give a crap. Street racing in Aurora was a ton of fun. And not Sugar Grove, off of the road's dead, Silver Glen. I don't know if it's still going or not, but all these random roads, Four Corners, whatever, it doesn't matter. But those days were awesome. Doozer said he's been to Strats. I know you were there with a DSM, I think, Doozer. I can't remember. It's been a minute. But a lot of people came from down in Kentucky and came up to street race. But it was a great time. It was awesome, man.
Call your local police department and tell them that license plate stole your girlfriend, and then she gets you an address.
Andy, you said it's in the Salt Belt of America. Does it have a chance in hell of not being rusted away? It does, because I bought the car, and it was the first car I ever put together. I GSR swapped it. I did a whole bunch to the car, and I had it completely stripped down and repainted too, and it was rust-free chassis when I sold it. Hopefully it's still rust-free. So I can only assume, even if it's literally, this car could be on jack stands with no wheels and no engine in the engine bay and just a bare shell, and I'd still purchase the car back. I want the car back so badly, and I've looked for the last 5 years, and I cannot find it. So,
I would love to get my own first car back as well, but knowing who they were sold to, the first two cars that I had, and the condition of the second car. So first car was a 1985 Chevy Silverado square body, which is why I have my C10 now, because I fell in love with square bodies at the time. But I'm pretty sure that, and then the 1970 Impala convertible that I had, which was a complete rust bucket when I got it. Both of those cars are long gone. So I have held on very tightly to my third car, which honestly, I really consider this thing my first car. So I
must be nice.
Completely understand the nostalgia.
Still, it's cool.
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice. Don't talk about my internet. I know. I can hear it in my headphones. When it goes full fucking RoboCop.
Sorry, buddy.
Stop resisting.
It's not the time for that, buddy. It's not the time for that.
My bad. My bad.
Keith Durbin. Big Keith. Keith is saying he might be able to help in Ohio. Keith is a customer of ours at Dynasty. He has a pretty wicked 6th gen Camaro. I won't say horsepower numbers because he races it on the racetrack up here.
Mm-hmm. In Mexico.
Also, I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to. I'm not mixing work with Clapped Out because I'll go off on everybody he's raced. But Keith's Camaro is rowdy, and I'm super stoked. And actually, Keith, while you're watching, I won't mix too much work with Clapped Out. But in the meantime, what I will do is I'm going to play this. I don't know if you can hear this or not. You hear that?
Yep.
Okay.
It's real good for everybody listening. Now we can't hear it.
Keith's car on the dyno. The car is wicked.
It's a 6th gen Camaro making a dyno pull.
Magnuson 2650 supercharger, Dynasty built short block, Brian Tooley racing camshaft, and Valve trained Johnson lifters. That car on the lowest boost I've seen a 2650 on made like no power. Everyone should legally race him on the road.
Don't be afraid of him.
Don't be afraid of him.
He ain't shit.
Yes. David Comstock for 2 weeks in a row, Dave. Dave, it's good to see you, bud. I was just thinking about you and holding you close to my heart. But yes, that's my whole deal with I want to find my first car. So I don't know the avenue to go to. I need to take my license plate number and find somebody that can reference the VIN from that license plate, do an auto check, figure it out. I'm not sure. Anyone that has leads on that, please let me know. And then also rounding back, if you're just joining, that's not lies, Dave. Come on down, buddy. Should we have Dave on the live feed? Should we have him do a podcast? He's probably really animated. Probably just yell at me the whole time.
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, Dave, take your clothes off and get on a computer.
Yeah, we're doing it this week or next week?
Not right. I don't care. But first of all, Mr. Comstock, you need to be completely – that's how we do the podcast. You need to be completely nude.
Yeah, Mike Newcomb brought up something. Hey, if you guys got Harbor Freight jack stands out there, go check them. Like, really check them. And then check your neighbors when you borrow them and make sure they are not getting recalled.
Yeah, what happened, Ryan?
So Harbor Freight, a lot of people in the automotive world know that Harbor Freight issued a recall for their 6-ton and 3-ton jack stands, specific part numbers, blah, 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 blah. So I checked my own personal stash. I had 2 of them that were underneath that recall, took them back, got a gift card, bought a bunch of random crap with that gift card. Came back here, was working on my car, and when I had to put it up in the air to pull the transmission out of it, I realized, I'm like, oh man, I'm 2 jack stands short. Oh yeah, they got recalled. So I walked across the street because my neighbor had some jack stands, and I was like, oh, he bought the latest version of these. They should be fine.
What an idiot.
Wrong. The second the jack pad came away from the rear axle on the rear end, it sounded like a gunshot went off, and the passenger side rear jack stand collapsed, and the car took a very quick fall, and it was teetering on right front, left rear jack stand, precariously, dangerously about to fall off into, if you're watching this live, the other car that's in my garage right now. They're about to, 2 worlds were about to collide.
We were so close. We were so close to losing him, guys. I'm sorry.
Quickly got the car back up and stabilized, took the jack stands back to Harbor Freight. In the commotion, my hood that was just recently painted with a sick custom paint job, shout out to Robert Filger at Filger's Custom Auto Body and Restoration, took a nosedive off the top of the car, cracked the hood, messed it all up. The hood's back down at Robert's right now. Thankfully, that was the only damage. Hood's getting fixed. But it could have gone much, much worse. I got complacent. That's the bottom line. I just didn't think twice about putting those jack stands in the car, but never again. It's not going to happen again. So I've had a couple close calls in the garage. Like, don't think just because you're inside the garage. If you're moving, somebody, Josh's brother, Mikey, was talking to another friend of mine, Chuck, and his words were, if it has to hold up something heavy or move something heavy, I'm not buying it from them. Buy it from somebody reputable. And I feel like I've avoided danger long enough, and that's something I'm going to live by. So I'm going to
I'm not returning my Harbor Freight jack stands. So I still got them.
I mean, then you can go race on a guardrail track. Call me a pussy if you want to. I don't care.
Let me fly back real quick because we're getting close to that time. Eric with the S2000. If you're just joining us, Eric's son was diagnosed with muscular dystrophy. And first and foremost, I am very sorry to hear that, Eric. That is terrible, man. I'm very sorry. However, Eric, as a result of this diagnosis, needs to sell his car to help financially support the journey that they're most certainly embarking on together. So I have just posted the link to our Facebook page. I just posted the link to our page. Share or buy the car. I would prefer you just buy the car. But if you, at the very least, please share the hell out of that car and let's get that car sold to a new owner and get him taken care of. The car community is brilliant. We saw this week. I think Jeff Thomas is his name. His car was stolen, and a few moments later, the car was found untouched, perfect in the trailer. That was an amazing effort by the racing community. I would absolutely love to get Eric's car sold for him, given the circumstances that he is in. So please, if you jump to our page, you'll see the post. Try to get this thing sold for him. Shout out, Eric. I'm sorry you're going through what you're going through, but Clapped Out it's not – I joke about this quite often. Clapped Out's not ours. Clapped Out's not mine. It's not Rise. It's not Kalis's. Clapped Out is for everybody. That's literally the whole theme. We do this for everybody. We don't do it for us. So anything we can do to help, we are here, man. And I wish you nothing but the best moving forward through this journey. So that is posted on our wall. Get it shared. And do not buy Harbor Freight jack stands.
No, absolutely not. Never again. Yeah. That's it. Clapped Out Podcast. Head over to clappedout.com/store. Pick up some merch.
Merch.
I promise I'll be better about shipping.
Hey, also, will you be better about internet?
Yes, I will. Okay. Clappedout.com/store. This is the Clapped Out Podcast, and we are out. Done.